Hello and welcome everyone to episode 4 of Loser Legend. As always, I am Zepez. So here we go for another episode of some Mythic Pluses onto 4s. So we're starting off on the Motherload. Get stuck straight in, no problems at all. Waiting for that countdown to go. And there we go. Straight in with the trash. And here we go on to the coin-operated crowd pummeler now. It was not a bad run at all. Mechanics were absolutely done to perfection. Bombs no problem at all this time. Here we come now into the execute range. The coin magnet going off there, but there's no coins in range, so you ain't doing nothing. Down no problem at all. Next up, we're coming on to Azarok. I found with this boss, people tend to focus on the ants, chasing them around rather than fighting the boss, which is kind of irritating. But I'm hoping in the higher keys, people are going to have that down into the execute range now. Affix is all cleared. Going down nice and quick, 1 DPS down, but didn't really affect too much. Ad's dying a lot more than the bosses, but that's just the way it goes on this boss so far. Every key I've done on here, it's gone the same. Bringing the aggro for the ads. No problem at all. Next up, we're going to Rixer. Everyone knows what they're doing on this boss by now. The big floor gets filled up. Cleared away. Into execute range. Flying down, no problems whatsoever. Absolutely flawless piece of work. Now we're going up onto Mogul. Make sure everyone's ready before we go. There was a couple of deaths in this fight, which was irritating because it was just down to people not watching where the bombers are spawning in, even though there were pings going out from the healer. But eventually we get down to execute range. Only 3 minutes left on the timer. We're going down no problems at all by this point. Gatling gun coming in. Those left alive know exactly what they're doing. Trying to keep the boss in the correct place to avoid those bombers. Finish him off on the floor. No more flying for him. And there we go. Finished off with a rating of 203 score in 30 minutes and 8 seconds. Here we go now onto Cinderbrew. Onto the first boss. Mr. Aldir himself into execute range. I've had plenty of practice on him now. Absolutely smashed him. Onto IPA now. Again, Cinderbrew, after the first run I've done of it, I've really focused on how things work in here and getting it down with no problem at all now. Still 18 minutes left on the clock. A little bit of a death there. What I noticed was people weren't focusing on the bees. It was just getting to the point, like we're getting to execute range and people just start ignoring the barrels that come in. But second attempt, 7 minutes left on the clock, and there we go. Busby down. Onto Goldie now. Miss Baron Bottom, the CEO, or the BEO as she likes to call herself, into execute range. Smash her down. No problems at all. Nice +1 on that 4, finishing off on 204 score in 29 minutes and 35 seconds. On to Dallycry now in Priory. Again, this boss hits like an absolute freight train. I'm worried about this in higher keys, but into execute range. Down without any issues. Everyone stayed alive. We did have a couple of deaths on the trash. On to Brawn Pike now. Everyone done what they were meant to do. Into that execute range. There we go, Brawn Pike going down. Onto Merprey now. The Princess. Nice, quick and easy first phase. Into the second phase, and I was getting really wound up. Because the DPS were just running the beam all over the place. And as people know, it's kind of a hard boss to move. Can't interrupt anything. She's constantly casting. So trying to drag her out of that. Look, straight through me. Nevertheless, she's down. So Priory dead. Finished off in 207 score. 26 minutes, 29 seconds. Now onto the Big Mama. Operation Floodgate. This was a fantastic group all the way through the dungeon. Into that execute range now. Still no deaths by this point. Healer doing a fantastic job. DPS absolutely smashing it down. Big Mama down. So Mama goes down. I run off and I'm like, what are you all doing stood over there? This is the way. And then I realised they needed to kill the crates and there's trash up there. I was like, huh? What's going on? But yep, on to Quick Fuse now. Absolutely fantastic fight. Everyone knew what they was doing. DPS was pumping. When you're doing a +4 and you've got a Marks Hunter putting out 2.4 million DPS, can't complain. Into that execute range now. Bombs being dealt with. Charges as well. Getting those bombs down. Next one coming in. There we go, just finishing off on Bront now. Beautiful stuff. Still 18 minutes left at this point. By the time we clear the trash, get through to Swamp Face. Still 15 minutes on the clock. Pre-warned everyone to move clockwise if we needed to move clockwise. But overall, very, very smooth fight. Everyone moving perfectly. I did notice the healer on here was stood out, kind of baiting that frontal, which was a massive help into the execute range. Just finishing off. I was planning on getting a CR off, but boss was pretty much down, so carried on, finished off, healer rezzed up. Now we move on to Giga Zap. And again, it was just an absolutely flawless battle. Everyone done what they were meant to do. Everyone dodged everything. Took their sparks in. Didn't set any puddles ablaze. Straight into the execute phase now. 5 minutes still left on the clock. Only 2 deaths overall. There we go. Finished off Floodgate, 206 rating, 28 minutes and 6 seconds on the clock. Okay, so now we're on to Desia, Paceran and Sathel. Absolutely brilliant fight into the execute range. DPS was pumping. down, no problems at all. Now onto Zav. Again, everyone knew what they were doing. The DPS was absolutely flying out. Everyone dealing with affixes. And it just kept everything running smooth. Into the execute range. And by this point, still 26 minutes on the clock. Brilliant by the entire team. Beautiful stuff. Didn't realise the boss's health at that point and ran in to kill the banner. Completely was not necessary. Zav down. Now on to Gore Chop. Nothing went wrong at all until here. And boom! There we go again. Let's get an action replay. There we are. The only person to get caught by the chains in the entire fight was me. Beautiful stuff. But Gore Chop down nonetheless. Rock now. Everyone baited the ghosts away. Interrupts were absolutely on point into the execute range. Still almost 12 minutes on the clock. And there we go. Rock down. Finally now onto Modritha. It was brilliant stuff. 10 minutes to finish her off. Into the execute range. Everything going down. No problems at all. No deaths on this fight. 4 mil, 3 mil, 1 mil. And there we go. Modritha down. Theatre of Pain finished off on 210 score in 20 minutes and 8 seconds. Now we're onto the workshop. The Tussle Tonks. Realising now how the hammers activate by standing in front of them. Took a bit of a pump in the start, but now onto the execute range. Everyone's still alive. No deaths. The interrupts on the trash before this were on point. Armor plating in, but it did not matter. Tussle Tonks down. And here we go on to Cujo. I think I made one little mistake here. I didn't pull him into the first box. But after the first one, going down, not a problem. I think someone got a bit handy at this point. Didn't move out of Vending Flames. Yeah, there we go. Paladin down. But finished off. 1 death. 24 minutes remaining. And there we go. Now into the Machinist's Garden. Mr. Spark Flux himself. Throwing everything you could at us. Into that execute range. Everyone's dodging everything. Still only on 1 death. And there we go. Finally now up onto King Mechagon. Once again, it was an absolutely fantastic fight. DPS was on point. Into that execute range now. And as you can see, straight down, no problems at all. Finish off King Mechagon. And slapped him down. Finished off 215 score. It was a +3, completed in 18 minutes and 30 seconds. Dark Flame Cleft. Onto Waxbeard. Still think people don't quite realise what you're supposed to do with the ads here with getting them run over, but into the execute range. Finished them off. Cleared very, very quickly. Onto BlazerCon now. Everyone dealt with the flames and dealt with the tornadoes absolutely brilliantly. No problems at all in there. Well into that execute range now. See him go down. Lasercon down, still with almost 24 minutes on the clock. On to Mr. Candle King. The King of Candles. Into that execute range. Going straight down. Mechanics dealt with flawlessly once again. Now onto the darkness. Most of the time on this boss I found that people don't really know what to do with a candle, don't top it up in time. But this group was on point with it. There was no problems. Coming on to the end of him now, where he runs off. 15 minutes still on the clock and there he goes. The darkness complete. Finished off 215 score. It was a +3, 15 minutes, 58 seconds done. Onto the Rookery. Now after last week, I was kind of like, oh, got to do Rookery again. But we did not get a bad group at all. Flying down. Everyone on point. We had a couple of deaths on the trash beforehand with people getting hit by the orbs, and I was kind of like, oh, here we go again. But after that, everyone cleared their act up. And I decided not to do any stupid Paladin stuff and actually go down the way you meant to. On to Gorin. Pulled him in with the trash this time, rather than last time where I was kind of like, hey, these aren't going to die very fast. And I was right. DPS was absolutely pumping out. Gorin going down now in that execute range. Only a few puddles up this time, not the entire room covered. And there we go, Gorin down. Finally now, onto the Voidstone monstrosity. We saved that Bloodlust for the increased damage phase. Everyone was dealing with the stones that were coming up. Well into that execute range now. Still 11 minutes on the clock. Burn through that shield. And there he goes. So we finished off Rookery with a +2. And there we go. You can see the scores for this week. Finishing off on 1,674 Mythic Plus rating for the week. Big shout out again to my man Steve Forward. Zapsplat for the sound effects. If you don't follow Steve Forward, jump in. Give him a like. Give him a subscribe. And a follow on Twitch. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. Thank you very much, everyone.